Here with a closer look at the top political headlines this week. Joining us, of course, our Deputy Political Director, Averi Harper here, and ABC White House correspondent, MaryAlice Parks. Welcome to you both again. MaryAlice, let's start with you, and let's talk about the special counsel's report there on the president's handling of classified documents. You were in the room there for that fiery press conference on Thursday. What was it like?
Clearly, the president wanted to put the issues of the documents to rest. He wanted to come out and emphasize that he was exonerated, that he cooperated. But on those references to his age, he was seething. His anger was palpable in the room, gripping, almost red in the face. I asked him, has your memory gotten worse? He was stern. He was clearly frustrated by the question. He said, my memory is fine, almost short. But look, over the course of the rest of the questions, you saw it. He got more angry, more dismissive even of voters' concerns. And I don't think that tact is working for him. Anger isn't Joe Biden's brand. And it's not the kind of thing voters want to hear. They want to feel heard on this. They don't want to feel like their concerns, what they're seeing with their own eyes, is being dismissed outright. You know, I did think it was interesting. Yesterday, I saw a tweet from an Obama senior staffer, former Obama senior staffer, Dan Pfeiffer, and he said, I thought this was an insightful reminder of how Washington works. He said, you know, Biden meets with Republicans, with CEOs, every single day, tons of people. His argument was, if the memory lapses were really as bad as depicted in that special report, we would have heard about it. There would have been leaks. I actually think there's something to that. If Democrats were really worried about him and his ability to run, I think there would have been leaks. But big picture, he has to find a way to talk about this that's not just him sounding angry and offended by the question.
But there are so many questions about why it wasn't more tactful. You found out about it last minute before the press conference and wondering how the White House didn't address it before that. Averi, to that point, though, there is vulnerability for former President Trump, too. I mean, talking about age, there's not a big difference between the two.
Right. There are Americans who are concerned about Trump's age as well. He's only about 4 years younger than President Biden. And when we look at polling, we do know that age is a bigger vulnerability for Biden than it is for Trump. There was a recent NBC News poll that came out that said that 76% of voters had concerns about Biden's age versus only 48% of voters who have concerns about Trump's age. And so that should ring an alarm within the Biden campaign. They have to find a way to talk about this. They've largely shied away from the issue of Biden's age. But every trip up, every mistake that he makes on the campaign trail is going to resurrect these questions about his age.
All right, Averi, next up here, also big news at the Supreme Court this week, those extraordinary oral arguments. We actually heard the justices talking about whether or not Trump could be on the ballot in some states because of his role on January 6th. What's next in this case?
Right. Well, this is all about the 14th Amendment. There's a clause within it that says if you have taken an oath to protect the Constitution and participate in an insurrection, that you should be barred from holding public office. What we heard from the justices was a really skepticism from Colorado's argument that they could remove former President Trump from the ballot, citing that amendment. And so it is very likely that we could see a reversal of that decision on Colorado's case. It could also have implications for the other cases and similar efforts in states across the country to remove former President Trump from the ballot.
All right. And MaryAlice, let's end here because let's talk about the border deal. The border deal, it basically collapsed this week. What can the president do or what can't the president do?
I mean, it's worth remembering that this was a conservative deal. This was not comprehensive immigration reform. The White House didn't love everything in this deal. It didn't have something for dreamers. It didn't have a big discussion about a pathway to citizenship. This was a national security deal focused on the border. And still, it was Republicans that walked away from this. I mean, we saw record numbers of encounters at the border in December, and they picked to not do something. I mean, there are serious questions now about whether the president can do something more on his own. The White House said they're evaluating all options. Interesting that Republicans are pushing him to do more on his own when actually it's often Republicans who say the White House shouldn't do more without Congress legislating. But on this one, they want him to do more on his own. And this is all tied into a bigger ask. Obviously, the president wants money not only for the border, he wants money for Ukraine and for Israel. Yesterday, he was sitting next to the German chancellor, and he said if Congress doesn't act on sending more money to Israel, it's close to criminal neglect. It's outrageous. The White House is furious on this one. They want money from Congress on all of these fronts.
And obviously, Congress, many Republicans saying out loud that they don't want to give the president wins, of course, in an election year. Ladies, thank you so much for helping us digest all of this.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here. to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.